What's your feeling with this whole thing winding down, Galactica?
Oh, it's hard. It's bittersweet. It's very proud of where we are, and people's excitement and getting people to watch the last few episodes is great, and all the attention. But it's hard to let it go and to think of a time not too many weeks from now when there won't be any more to look forward to, and it'll all come to an end. But I'm very proud of it, and it's a lot like high school graduation. We all thought of the fourth season as sort of our senior year on the show, and that you would get to this point and you'd graduate, and that whole group would part and never be together again, and that's kind of where we are.
Because when you and I first started talking about the show, obviously it was in the aftermath of September 11th, and America was in its wars, and we were talking way back then about the parallels between where we were as a country and where Battlestar Galactica was. I'm wondering, do you think those parallels are going to this day as the show is ending?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to give away how the show ends, so, it kind of depends on where we end the series, really.
Right.
And on what note and, how it all kind of wraps up together. But it's certainly interesting that they are coming somewhat close together.
Right. The one thing, like when they find Earth, and Earth is a wasteland, basically, it drives home, and I think I said this to you a couple of years ago, too. It's like, are these people ever allowed to be happy?
Yeah, evidently not. Evidently not. Yeah, there's little bits of joy here and there. This week you'll see some things of people trying to keep their lives moving on, and there's a bit of that, but they're in the final chapters, and it seems like it's no rest for the weary, and it's just going to the story's going to push them very strongly forward from now on.
Mm-hmm. But do you think, I know you're not going to reveal anything, I'm not going to ask you to reveal anything per se, but I am wondering, when the show is all said and done, do we get, Beneath the Planet of the Apes where everybody dies, or do we get at least something with a little bit of hope to it?
Well, I don't think the show has ever been completely bleak. I think that there's always been nobility and heroism and love and, compassion, in the darkest hours of Galactica, and I think that, we will certainly maintain that, all the way through to the end.
I wonder if you could look back on the 4 years for me, and in sort of in a general sense, share your feelings on how the show has evolved season to season.
Yeah, the first season was all about discovery, about figuring out what is the show. How much, could we do off Galactica? Who were the core characters we were really going to concentrate on? Could we make this Hilo, Silent Occupied Caprica storyline work? Where would that go? How much of a continuing story is it? How much of it is standalone? When do we introduce other elements of mythology? What's the nature of Lord Ross? There was just a lot of questions. What's the style? Could we do flashbacks in episodes? How much play would we have? And there were just a lot of questions to answer that first year. So the first year was very intense, and a lot of just sort of trying different things out week to week and seeing what would work and what wouldn't. And then second season, it became about, okay, we know what we're doing. Now let's proceed forward and just get stronger along the way. And by the end of the second season, it felt like it was time to take a big risk, that the show was settling in. I kind of felt by the end of the second season that we were settling in a little bit. It was becoming a little bit too safe, a little bit too familiar in terms of our storytelling. And so we really reshuffled the deck and took the year leap forward and made Baltar president and put him on a planet instead of Galactica. And we really just completely changed the parameters of the show and essentially did almost a new pilot. And, then into the third season, we were just clicking. It was like we were really confident and really able to do what we wanted and knew that we could take big gambles and that they would pay off. And as we got deeper into the third season, that's when I began to sense that we were moving into the final chapters, and by the end of the third season, I knew that we had reached the third act, and that the show had really only 1 year left, and that sort of understanding then defined what the fourth season was about. The fourth season was about bringing it all home, and conclusions, statements, figuring out the underlying mythology, really giving cohesion to the whole piece, and then sort of ending, as strong as we could.
But now, was ending the show, was that your choice, or was the network saying kind of ratings aren't what we want them to be, it's too expensive to produce, you got to end the show?
No, it was my choice. They were kind of surprised. I called them towards the end of the third season or after the end of the third season. I can't remember exactly when, but it was late in the game, and I said that I want next year to be the last one. So we've reached the third act of the story, and I don't want to attenuate it. I don't want to stretch it out beyond the point that it'll still be good television, and let's go out going strong. And they were a little surprised, and they hesitated. We talked about it a little bit, but then they kind of agreed, and that was the decision that we made.
And it is very unusual. I mean, seriously, I don't know too many producers since the heyday of things like the Mary